Sit down, my disciples. I have a story to tell. Now, it's kind of an embarrassing story, but my friends asked me about it in the past because they like making fun of me. And so I thought it was an interesting story to tell, so I'm going to tell it here. And it's especially interesting to me because, well, it's not very often you hear cringy stories about women getting rejected. So, yeah, here's a cringy story. I used to work at this restaurant called Olive Garden. I don't know if anybody's heard of it, but it's a pretty popular, air quote, Italian restaurant. And me and this girl used to work there. And I had a crush on this girl in the past and whatnot, and I've told her this. And she always responded with, nah, bruh, it's just not our time, you know what I mean? I just, I just like you as a friend, yeah? So, one day, we after work, we decided to hang out. Now, now I usually play basketball after work and stuff. It wasn't out of the norm for me to go sweat a little bit at over the tarmac, but for some reason she felt inclined to invite herself. She came up to me and she was like, "Yo, Lucas, are you playing basketball tonight? Can I come? Like, we could just hang out, smoke some weed and stuff." And I was like, that's not that bad. It might be chill to have some company or whatever, and we can hang out and smoke some weed and shoot some hoops. So we, when the night came, I picked her up and we drove to the basketball court. And she brought a bottle of Hennessy with her. I thought that was really suspicious, especially because that's not part of a workout diet or an athletic diet, but she brought Hennessy with her. And steadily over the night, as we continued to shoot more hoops, she continued to drink in more and more Hennessy. And she started talking about her past relationships and how they suck and all that stuff and whatever. And I don't know if you can hear me already, but I'm rolling my eyes. But so the night goes on, and she's kind of flirting with me a little bit here and there, and like you my position is always never to assume that that she's flirting with you. So I decided to drive her home, and this is the part where it gets really fucking weird. So I knew something was gonna happen because her driveway felt longer than usual, and she wasn't talking much. And at this point, looking back at the situation, I could tell you the reason she was giving me the silent treatment is because she was flirting with me and I was giving her nothing back. But at the time, I wasn't exactly 100% in the ballpark of doing that with her. So, so we pull up her driveway, her dark, ominous driveway, and we get to park. And normally, when people park and say goodbye, they get out of the fucking car and they go home. But she didn't. She didn't. She just lingered there for a second, and she kind of looked around the car as if like I'm supposed to be tidying up the car for her to leave or some shit. She was just looking around, waiting for some excuse to say something, and then she stopped, looked me dead in the eye sack, and said, "Let's make out." And in normal situations, I would have probably been like, "Hell yeah, give me all that tongue, like, let's make out." But in this current situation, my thought alarm was going off like crazy. My thought alarm was way past 9,000. Okay, and the more she eyeballed me in my pupils, the more I was like, "This bitch is a thought." Like, I don't know what exactly turned me off to the idea, but something turned me off to the idea. So at this point I haven't even responded yet, and she was like, "Let's make out. Let's make out, Lucas. Like, I don't like, we're young, like we can do whatever we want. We can let's just make out." And I continued to answer with silence and just staring because I didn't exactly know how to handle the situation just randomly handed to me. And I think I don't remember the exact words, but I came to the conclusion of, "Nah, I'm Gucci." And she was really upset about it. She was really upset that I rejected her. And because in the back of her mind, she's probably thinking, Lucas had a crush on me before, and so he must be completely down for it now. So she feeling insulted, she reverted to denial. And when she reverted to denial, she chose a tactic that was really, really, really weird. And she probably looks back on it now as one of the cringiest moments in her life. But she just looked away from me, slapped her hands on her lap, like she was cleaning them off, and was like, well, this might be your last chance. And I just, I didn't even death stare her, I just man stared her. I just man stared her, and she sighed again, going, well, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and she went all the way to 1. And I'm just sitting there watching this happen. Already made my decision. And she does that hand cleaning off on the lap thing again, and she's like, that was the chance, Lucas. That was the chance. And I was like, okay, you know, how else am I supposed to respond to that other than just, okay, you know? So, and looking back on it, like, future Lucas, me now, probably would have smashed because she has cake, you know? But in that moment, my alarms were going off and I was not about that situation. And so, feeling defeated, she decided to go in for the hug. And I go in for the hug. And we both decide to hug each other. And I don't know what it was. I don't know. It was the most male gene in my body that must have triggered an electrical reaction. But when I hugged her, I did like the most awful thing you could do to someone after you rejected them. And when we embraced each other, it was like a twitch. It was like a twitch, dude. I just started patting her on the back. And for a moment there, I in the back of my head, I was like, no. You didn't just do that, Lucas. You didn't just do that. And I tasted the air for a second. I was like, nah, you got away with it. She didn't notice. And her mouth was in my ear, and I just heard her say, there's no way you just did that. There's no way you just patted me on the back right now. And I looked at the sunroof and was just like, what happened in my body to like let that happen? Wait, why did I do that? Why would anyone? Let's start a rule now. No, if you're giving anybody a hug, never pat them on the back. It doesn't matter what kind of situation they're going through. Patting on the back is just a fucking weird situation. Never do that. And I did it to this girl after rejecting her and her being upset about rejection and all this shit, and I patted her on the fucking back. Literally, that was the longest embrace of my life because I didn't want to leave it. I didn't want to leave it because I had to make eye contact with her and explain why I fucking did that. And of course, there's no explanation other than the fact that it was a twitch, you know? So we leave each other's embrace, and it's like 100 times more awkward than like what it was before when we were playing basketball. It's like all the attraction and heat of the moment has been disintegrated by just the thunderous tap on her back. So I'm pretty sure we just said bye to each other. And she was like, have a good night. And I was like, have a good night. And she got out of the car and went inside. And like I said, looking back on this situation, me now is mad at my old self for not going through with that shit. But in the moment, looking back at that, maybe it was a wise decision. Either way, it was a million times weirder, just weird being in that fucking situation. And the fact that she counted down, the countdown, the countdown just makes it so terrible to sit in that car. But either way, guys, I just wanted to tell a cool story, or a story from my life, and maybe you guys will think it's interesting. Anyways, see ya.